arson that we had happen yesterday here in Orem, we do believe now that it was set by the same person that set the fire back in late December. So what we've done as a city is we've got together, realized what an important deal this is and how we need to catch this guy, and we've actually put together a task force of state, local, and federal officials that we can all combine all of our resources to make sure that we get this guy before it happens again. So it's at the top of our priority list. We know there's a lot of people that are concerned, as are we. We're doing everything we can to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Can you tell us about the December fire and the similarities?
Yeah, we just believe the MO is the same. They started a small distraction fire, and then right after that is when they set the framed-in apartment housings on fire. So we do believe it's the same person, same MO. And I can tell you that we are following up on some active leads right now. But we are asking that if the public has seen anything or heard anything, to please contact us and let us know. But we are actively following up on some good leads right now.
What does it say about the fact that they started a patrol car? It wasn't an Orem car, but a police officer's car on fire as that distraction car?
Well, they're getting a little bit more brazen now. Whoever is doing this, I think that was just kind of a crime of opportunity that he saw. Passed the Provo police car on his way to the construction site, and that's when he decided to maybe do that.
It's pretty confrontational.
Oh, yes, it is. It's making a statement, that's for sure.
What are you guys thinking that statement is?
It's hard to say, but he's got our attention.
And any idea if you're dealing with one person, more than one person?
Right now we don't know, but like I said, our detectives do have a few leads they're following up on, so we don't know if it's one, two, or even more than that.
Why is he making these targets, these unfinished apartment buildings?
That's something we would like to answer ourselves. We don't quite know just yet.
Any thought as to whether this person or persons are responsible for more than this?
There's always that possibility. I know our arson investigators are working with Provost as well to see if some of the fires are linked. Right now, we don't believe that they are.
There are differences in the method?
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
I can't get into that.
That's part of the investigation?
Yes, sir.
Orem's a busy city. I mean, there's a big construction project just down the road here. Are you adding extra patrols to some of these potentially vulnerable targets?
What I can tell you, Battalion Chief Peterson is going to touch on this a little bit. We are meeting with the contractors in the area, and we're coming up with a plan. And yes, we are providing extra patrols, not only with our officers, but with our firemen. So we've got a lot of things in the works right now to make sure this doesn't happen again.
The police car seems like an escalation. Are you worried about more escalation?
That's always a concern, yes.
Escalation could mean people, not construction site.
Fortunately, there's one good thing that could be gleaned out of this is that these are apartment buildings that are unfinished and they're not habited by any people. So that's been the one good thing here is that nobody's been hurt.
How much money has this cost?
In loss?
Yes.
From what I'm hearing now is anywhere from $1.5 million to $2 million total in both fires to be combined.
What about the December fire?
We've actually got some leads. We're following up again on that one. So, we're combining those leads along with the ones we've gotten from this new fire and working everything.
Was this car one that was used by one particular patrol person?
Yes, that car was assigned to him. It was at his house.
So that's pretty scary. It's at his house.
Well, I'm sure it's disheartening for the program officer. Yes, as a look at any of us.
Anything else you want to emphasize on this situation today?
Just if we do need the public's help. If you see anybody suspicious running around any of these construction sites, because we have a lot of them here in Orem, please give us a call when that's happening.
What would suspicious behavior be?
Would there be a reason for someone to be at a construction site at 3 a.m.? I think that's a glowing one right there. There's really no reason for that. But we are taking preventive measures, like I said, Battalion Chief Peterson getting on that to ensure that this doesn't happen again. We're using every resource we have to catch this person or persons.
Any concern about people buying a particular kind of material or anything like that?
No, not right now.
So tell us about this investigation from your perspective.
So at this point, the investigation is being handled by our law enforcement counterparts. As Lieutenant Martinez mentioned, they have local, state, federal resources. We are assisting in the investigation with with our fire marshal's office. We're also assisted by Provo Fire Department's arson investigation team.
Is it you guys have expertise though with when it involves fire, and so how do you work together with law enforcement? What do you do?
Oh, we've had a long-established relationship in Orem with our law enforcement counterparts. We have one of their detectives as part of our arson investigation team, so we already have interoperability established during these investigations.
You guys see a lot of bad stuff from medical to fires and things like that. How does it impact you guys when you respond to a fire and realize someone set it on purpose?
It's a challenge. It's an emotional challenge for our firefighters. Fortunately, through their training, they're able to work with that. Our concern is with intentional fires, the life safety hazard. Firefighters, of course, are willing to risk their lives to save life and property, but when that is an intentional set fire, that creates additional challenges for us from a risk management perspective.
Does it also the idea that there's an intentional distraction, like someone's trying to toy with you?
Yes, and of course that is part of the investigation, but obviously I think part of that intent with the distraction fires is an attempt to delay our response.
That's got to make you mad too. I mean,
it's challenging, but we understand, and again, our folks are professional, and they're able to respond and do their job, and they do it well.
What can you tell us is what you're trying to do to be proactive with some of the other construction sites around the city?
So of course fire prevention is always a priority in the fire department, but we have doubled our efforts in light of the recent arson fires. With law enforcement conducting extra patrols, we're also going to have a visual presence with our firefighters in the area, saturating the construction sites. We'll be meeting with the projects that are under construction today to give them some pointers and tips that they can do for prevention to assist us. We'll also be having another meeting next week with some other ideas and tips that the contractors can do to improve security and help on the prevention aspect with their sites.
what does it mean to saturate the sites with your personnel?
The greater presence that we can have with law enforcement and fire personnel, the theory with that is that if the person or persons responsible for these activities are in the area, that it may be a deterrent for them or for others to commit the crimes.
What kind of response do we see from the public, especially those who may be neighbors with these fires, maybe like down the block from one of these apartment complexes that were under construction?
And the public will be a big key in our prevention efforts, and we'll be doing public education with the neighbors of these areas, as well as through social media. So our prevention efforts are going to require the participation of the general public, contractors, law enforcement, the fire department. There's a lot of people that are going to have to be involved to make our prevention efforts successful.
When you realize you have a situation like this, are you talking with other departments that have not been affected but that are nearby?
We are definitely in communication with other fire departments in Utah County, especially those that have other projects in similar states of construction.
When you say that you're going to have personnel going out there, are they going to? Does that mean there are going to be firefighters who have to stay out at a site instead of getting rest at a station?
No, our firefighters will patrol the areas for a short period. It's not going to be anything that's going to inhibit the safety of our firefighters. As our firefighters commute through the city, returning from hospitals and such, we will direct them to also saturate the areas at those times.
As far as the psychology of a serial arsonist, does it concern you that they've moved to such big projects as opposed to maybe just smaller places when they're first getting started?
It is a concern from a life safety and a property loss that they are targeting larger complexes. It obviously poses a greater significant hazard to life safety as well. And we take measures during our fire operations to prevent that, but it is a concern to us with these larger structures.
You mentioned that some fires might be a distraction technique. Considering that, are you approaching them differently?
No, our operations, when the firefighters get on scene, they'll identify the risks and they will use the techniques and the strategies that they need based on what they're presented with, regardless of the intent of the fire. You've
You've talked with the firefighters on the line. Are they thinking about this? What are they saying?
It is something that's in the forethought of our firefighters. We will be meeting with all of our fire operations personnel to update them on where we're at with the investigation and our prevention efforts. Again, they're a key component to our prevention. So we'll definitely have transparent communications with our operations division.
And the relationship that the firefighters themselves have with law enforcement, you know, you guys aren't police, but you're interacting with crime a whole lot. Is that a concern, and how do you address it?
It's not a concern. Our fire department and police department have a great working relationship. Many of the personnel on both sides have personal relationships as well. So there's absolutely no interoperability concerns between police and fire. We have a great relationship.
Ryan, when you meet with the building developers, what are you going to tell them?
Today, the initial point of today's meeting is to establish a personal relationship and give them some pointers and give them some confidence that we are very proactive in prevention. And again, next week we'll have a more in-depth meeting with them to provide them more details. But we want to get the relationship established, let our contractors know that we take the safety of their projects serious, and property conservation is a priority for us.
Are you suggesting to them that they hire private security?
That will be a recommendation that we would give them that will enhance, of course, the security and assist in the prevention.
And is that a public meeting, or is that just a private meeting with the contractors?
The meeting next week will be a private meeting with the contractors that choose to attend.